The headlines. In today's video, I want to talk about the very strange world of celebrity tattoos, because as usual, they're hiding the truth in plain sight with these things. They're letting us know exactly who they are and what they're really all about with the tattoos that they mark themselves with. I mean, I think most of us are familiar with the different signs and symbols and hand gestures that they use to achieve the same effect, and they also do it to communicate with each other and let everyone know in a roundabout way about these secret satanic societies that they are all a part of. But their tattoos are a little bit less talked about. However, they're just as prominent, just as repetitious, and just as satanic as everything else they do. So this is a great way to wake up friends and family members who might be resistant to this information. Once they see it over and over again, and exactly how many celebrities have the same exact tattoos of the same exact satanic symbols, they might have to start questioning what is really going on here. So let's get started with Chris Brown, because he's pretty much a walking billboard for the Illuminati, or whatever you want to call it. Here, this was posted on his Twitter page, and this is a tattoo on his back, and it's a giant pyramid with the eyeball right in the capstone of it. Now, this symbol is not anything new, obviously. It's on the back of our dollar bill even, and once again, it is a mockery of God. That is a common theme with these people. This is often referred to as the all-seeing eye of Lucifer, and everything they do is about counterfeiting and copying God. God is the only one with the ability to be all-seeing and all-knowing, but they want to copy that and rip it off, and they are building a system of the all-seeing eye. So we are living in a surveillance state where almost everything we do is monitored in one way or another, and that is because they want to be like God. So that is what this symbol represents, and it's not only Chris Brown who has it, but he doesn't just have it once. Right above the pyramid, the huge pyramid on the center of his back, on his shoulder, he has a serpent, which of course is symbolic of Satan and has been for thousands of years. And on the serpent's tail is once again the pyramid with the eyeball in the center of it. But I guess two pyramids were just not enough for Chris Brown, because he also has another pyramid tattooed on the side of his face. Now, if he were the only one to have these tattoos, obviously we could write it off as a coincidence, but the sheer number of celebrities who have the same exact tattoos proves there is something else going on here. And the fact that all of these symbols are linked to Satanism tells us everything we need to know. Now, the next one is Adam Levine, who I covered this in my Super Bowl video I did on him, because at the halftime show that he did this last year, or at the last Super Bowl, he took off his shirt and the all-seeing eye tattoo was very prominently displayed. So it's right there on his shoulder, clear as day, the all-seeing eye, once again a mockery of God, and also them telling us exactly who they worship. It is the all-seeing eye of Lucifer. But moving on to the next celebrity who just so happens to have the same exact tattoo. She has an eyeball. Kesha has an eyeball on the palm of her hand, and here we can see her doing the all-seeing eye hand gesture over her one eye with this tattoo. So I guess all these people just really like eyeballs. I mean, that's what you'd have to tell yourself if you don't see what's going on here. But then we have Miley Cyrus, once again with the eyeball tattooed right on her finger. And she is another one of these musicians who are constantly pushing the satanic filth and brainwashing and programming kids with her music into these very sinful lifestyles, you know, filled with drugs and drinking and promiscuity. But that's what the whole goal is to corrupt the youth and to ruin their lives before they even get started with them. But anyway, next we have PewDiePie, who of course is a famous YouTuber. I think he has the most subscribers out of anyone, or maybe he doesn't anymore, but I know he has like 100 million subscribers, and he just so happens to have an eyeball tattooed on his forearm. Now we can see this very demonic face inside of a heart shape, and then beneath that is the all-seeing eye, and it's crying black goo. And now the black goo is also very symbolic in itself. They are constantly using it to represent demonic possession, but we're not going to get too deep into that in this video because there's a lot more celebrities to get to. Next we have Kristen Stewart, who also loves eyeballs, enough to have one tattooed right there on her arm. And if you don't know who Kristen Stewart is, she is an actress. I think she's most well known for that vampire series, Twilight, I believe it's called. So yeah, another eyeball tattoo, just like Justin Bieber, who also has a giant eyeball tattooed on his arm with the words with the word believe right underneath of it, with the lie right there in the middle. Now, he's another one who pretends to be a Christian in order to trick his Christian followers into, liking his music so that he can then lead them astray and lead them into lukewarm Christianity. And Justin Bieber is another one of these celebrities who's pretty much a walking billboard for this type of satanic symbolism, because he also has the owl tattooed on his arm, on his other arm, which the owl is another symbol they use all the time. To them, it represents wisdom and the ability to see through the dark. And this is why the elites stand around a giant burning owl at Bohemian Grove doing their mock child sacrifice ceremony, the cremation of care. And outside of Bohemian Grove, we can see the owl symbolism around it saying, "Weaving spiders come not here." And this is another symbol they love to push on the masses. I don't know if you have noticed, but every time you go into a store, they have owl memorabilia everywhere you look in every store you go to. So they really love it when we display their symbols for them without knowing what they actually mean. But Justin Bieber also has the Masonic G tattooed on his arm as well. Now, this G is always seen in between the Masonic square and compass. If you ever have driven by a Masonic lodge, you will see this G prominently displayed, and they will tell you it means the grand architect of the universe, but really their grand architect of the universe, they believe it to be Satan. And the G also represents the number 33, because in simple English gematria, where A equals 1 and Z equals 26, if you start counting over with A equaling 27, then G would actually equal 33. And they are obsessed with this number. As most of us know, there are 33 degrees in Freemasonry, and this represents the 33% of the fallen angels who chose Satan over God. And Jesus was also 33 when he was crucified. And again, this is their way of trying to counterfeit God, trying to rip him off, trying to take his place. And God is someone who works in numbers. We see this again and again in the Bible. So they try to use these numbers and pervert them and use them to try to be like God. So this is why Justin Bieber has the Masonic G tattooed right there on his arm. But moving on, next we have Lil Wayne, and he just happens to have a giant eyeball tattooed right on his chin. And Lil Wayne is another one of these people who are just constantly pushing these satanic lifestyles onto his listeners, programming and brainwashing them into degeneracy and pushing, drugs and drinking and all that stuff, just like all of these other famous celebrities and musicians. But anyway, next we have Katy Perry, who, as most of us know, again, a walking billboard for this stuff. She also just so happens to have an eyeball tattooed on her wrist, and she is also constantly using the eyeball in her artwork for her albums, like on this album cover, Witness. I think this was her last album, with the eyeball in her mouth. Super creepy. She also wears giant eyeballs on her outfits and on her shoes. It's just eyeballs everywhere you look with Katy Perry, and she also has a rainbow pyramid tattooed on her ankle. But now moving on, I believe this woman's name is Neon Hitch. I really don't know who she is, but I know she's involved with Hollywood. And she has this tattoo, which I found to be really interesting. She has the word gypsy with the pentagram above it and the all-seeing eye above that. And then underneath the word gypsy, she has these symbols, which I'm sure a lot of you know exactly where these symbols come from. These are from declassified documents from the FBI. Can't really get into it too much because of YouTube's community guidelines, but I think most of us are well aware of what this spiral triangle and other spiral symbol is meant for and what it is supposed to represent. So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting there. But next we have Asia Argento. If I'm mispronouncing it, who cares? But she also has a eyeball tattooed on her shoulder. She is also someone who has been linked to the occult and to witchcraft in many different ways. Now this we can see on her, I think this is her Twitter page. She is posing with Marilyn Manson. And obviously Marilyn Manson is a satanic slimeball who is constantly mocking Jesus Christ, but we can see the tattoo prominently displayed on his hand, and this is the sigil of Lucifer. So birds of a feather flock together, right? Now next, this is someone called Liam Payne, who I think is an actor. I really don't know who he is, but he does have a giant eyeball tattooed on his arm. So there's that. Now those are the eyeballs. I'm sure there's more out there. Those are just a few prime examples. But now we have Rihanna having the sh tattoo tattoo. I've talked about this in a lot of my videos. This is to represent the vow of secrecy that they take when they sell their soul to Satan, when they get involved in these secret societies and covens and so forth. So this is them just hiding the truth in plain sight, telling us that they are oath keepers, that they're not going to tell us their secrets. They do hide the truth in plain sight to some extent, but it's up to us to see it for what it is. Because Rihanna is not the only one with this tattoo. Lily Allen, who is a famous singer, also has the sh tattooed on her finger, and Lindsay Lohan as well has the same exact sh tattoo on her finger. So if you're someone who doesn't believe this stuff, you have to start wondering why they all have these tattoos and they're exactly the same and what they are really trying to say here. Because who in the world tattoos shh on their finger? What do you think they're trying to say? They're trying to say we keep secrets and we're not going to tell you who we really are. But Rihanna is one who's just covered in this stuff. She also has the goddess Isis tattooed on her chest, which these people are obsessed with the Egyptian culture because this is where so much of their witchcraft and black magic was advanced and taken up to the next level. So they are still practicing all this stuff, and this is why the Egyptian culture still has such a heavy influence here in America. Like, for example, when we go to public school, we learn more about the ancient Egyptian culture than almost any other ancient culture out there, and that's the reason why they want us all to be obsessed with ancient Egypt. But yeah, Rihanna is not the only one with the Isis tattoo. This is a model. I'm kind of forgetting her name right now. Oh yeah, Juliet Sims. That's who it is. She just so happens to have the Isis tattoo right there on her rib cage. And also Jordan Dunn, who is a runway model, who just so happens to have the same exact tattoo of the goddess Isis right there on her back. And she also has an eyeball tattooed on her arm. Now this one is inside of the palm. You'll see the symbol a lot like at tarot card readers, but still it pretty much means the same thing. All-seeing eye of Lucifer, black magic, witchcraft, so on and so forth. And Katy Perry also just so happened to dress up as the goddess Isis in one of her most famous music videos. And last but not least, I wanted to share this one with you. This is I think a Jamaican dancehall rapper. I really don't know who he is, but I could not resist showing this to you guys because it's just so obvious. I believe his name is Radaji or something like that. And he has the Masonic square and compass right there over his all-seeing eye. And you can also see him doing these hand symbols, the devil horns, the 666, and right there tying it together with Freemasonry, with the square and compass right there over his eye. So really unbelievable with that one. I mean, it just does not get any more obvious than that. So through their tattoos, through these symbols that they show the world, they are telling us who they are and what they're really about. These people worship Satan, they worship the dark arts, black magic, and they sell their soul in order to achieve riches in this world. You know, this is how these people become famous. This is why talentless hacks like Katy Perry, for instance, can make it all the way to the top because they have friends in high places. They have gone through these rituals. They have signed these blood contracts, and they have committed certain sacrifices and things like that in order to get where they are. And their tattoos are just yet another way they hide the truth in plain sight, because part of the occult, part of black magic is telling people what you're doing and putting the truth out there. It enhances the spell, and they also believe that it relieves them of any guilt because, hey, they're telling you right to their face. It's up to you whether or not you accept it. So just wanted to go over that, guys, and show you the repetition because I don't know who could deny it after seeing this, and you'd have to come up with some other crazy explanation for why they're all getting the same tattoo and they're all satanic symbols in one way or another. So obviously we know what's going on here. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thank you so much for listening. I'll be back with another video very soon. And until next time, guys, take care out there and God bless everybody.